Hi, this is Elena Goode, and this is School of Hollywood.
Well, welcome to the School of Hollywood. Love your t-shirt style in there. So you have a brand new TV series, Pretty Little Liars Original Sin. But before we get into that, you're in a classic movie, Straight Outta Compton.
Yes, yes.
Tell me about working on that film.
The whole experience was the overarching experience was fun. My biggest takeaway was the fun and the community that was cultivated on that set. I think they really wanted to create a sense of brotherhood, of course, with the guys, and really give you that feeling of a friendship that spans the test of time, that has history to it. So the tone that was on set was definitely a tone of fun and community. So the experience for me was educational, because I think that sometimes actors, performers in any area, whether you're a singer or a dancer, a writer, producer, or director, sometimes you don't know what the tone of the set is going to be when you're walking onto it. And so being a part of that production on that set really taught me to be really open, not to take things too seriously, and really use the time that you have off camera to connect with people, build relationships, so that when you're on camera, that can deepen what happens between the two actors when it's actually rolling.
So did you know the music before going into the movie?
Yes, of course, of course. Yeah. Even though I grew up in New York City and I'm very East Coast with my music, I was very, very familiar with all of them. Yeah.
So how was it to walk the red carpet, the Man's Chinese Theater? Because I know that opened up there, and that experience for yourself.
Surreal. I think that for anyone, regardless of how long they've been in the business, the red carpet experience can be really surreal, because projects usually take a long time to shoot, and pre-production is extended, and of course the project exists in the minds of the producers well before shooting ever begins. And so when you actually get to that moment to hit the carpet, it's really surreal. It's magical to see things come together. So it was an amazing experience for me.
So when you leave there and you go on to the next one, and it's at a small little theater, you got to kind of remember that moment.
No, but see, that's the great thing about being in the moment, right? Every project is different, every role is different, every experience is different. And I think that one of the most amazing things about being really present with each role and each project is that you can enjoy it for everything that it is without comparing it to anything that was.
So you have a new series. It's called Pretty Little Liars, The Original Sin.
Yes.
Can you share us what the show's about?
Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay. So the young women on this show are so talented. It's insane. It's about a group of high school students that inadvertently come together in the wake of a mystery that unfolds during. During the era of their mother's high school years. And they are now experiencing the blowback, or the consequences rather, of the events that occurred before they were
Aha. So
born.
what's your character?
My character is Marjorie Olivar, and she, depending on your perspective, can be perceived as a villain or a victim. She definitely puts a lot of pressure on her daughter Noah to be the adult in a lot of ways, and you see how that will affect her character throughout the series.
Well, I'm excited to see it. Do you have a producer, executive producer that did Riverdale?
Yes, yes, yes.
So you're definitely in the right vein with the audience, the core audience of the same type of series. Um, what drew you to the project?
There's so many things about this project that make it unique and special. First, it's a very classic genre, right? I think it's safe to say it falls in the slasher genre, but it really flips the gaze. All of our directors, with the exception of one, are women, and that's completely unique and different, and allows us to have, in my opinion, really rich emotional connections and a perspective that we have not really seen before. Diversity across the board makes the show really, really special and unique. And the voices, I mean, the writers knocked it out of the park, and the voices that all of the characters are given, um, have an impact that I think is really fresh and really relevant.
So I heard the location was haunted. Are you afraid of ghosts?
Well, first of all, I totally believe in ghosts. I totally believe in ghosts. And I think you can think of ghosts in many ways, right? You can think of ghosts as a literal disembodied spirit, right? Or you can think of a ghost as maybe just an unresolved energy, right? A sense of unease that you can get when you go into a place. So, regardless of what you believe, I definitely felt energy. I definitely felt some areas that were not fully at peace, I guess you can say. Yeah, the town that we were shooting in has a lot of history, and they offer a lot of ghost tours and activities like that. And I did research about it, and my spider sense was true. There was definitely a lot of unrest there. So
So did you have sleepless nights thinking about some of the ghosts?
I actually switched hotel rooms. Because I did have one room that was overlooking this tower, where the numbers historically, this is the lore, had been scrambled by something called a hobgoblin. I was like, I don't even know what that is. I had to look it up. But this story I discovered after I had had quite a few sleepless nights, and I texted a friend of mine who actually does have psychic abilities, and she said, "Girl, you got to find a new room." And I said, "Really? You don't think it's just, the cold or the late nights of work?" She said, "No, trust your gut." And then, of course, I looked it up, and there was an incredible amount of history about this clock tower that was right outside of my room.
So did you follow the series Pretty Little Liars? You know, every
And
episode?
I was, oh, the new one or the original?
The original.
The original. I was totally late to the party, and I started watching the series towards the end. And I loved the unexpected relationships between the women, the twists, the turns, the surprises. So I knew that I was in for a ride signing on for this journey.
So was the show shot in the United States or was it shot in Canada?
United States, upstate New York.
Okay, great. Looking at your Instagram page, you're very much into yoga and nature
Yes.
and photography. You've got some great photos that you've taken on there. People should check it out. What is your page that people can go to?
It's my first and last name, Elena, Elena, Good, Goode.
So do you do the breath work and everything with the yoga?
I do. Most yoga practices always include pranayama, which is breath practice, breath control. I think you can loosely translate it to that. And so that's definitely a big part of the practice. Many teachers say as long as you're linking your breath to the movement, your movement to the moment, you're in alignment with the practice.
And for those people who don't know, you were a soap star. 192 episodes.
Yes, yes. As the world turns, that was just an incredible, incredible experience.
I've worked with different actors over the years that have been on the soaps, and the hardest part is some days they get 50 pages of lines.
Oh, yeah.
How do you memorize that stuff?
Just don't freak out and tell yourself you have no other choice, because you have no other choice. There are, of course, amazing plethora of techniques that people can use, and I've read books on different memorization techniques, which are really, really helpful. But I mean, for me, it was just reminding myself there's literally no other option. So sometimes I'd be up all night, and if I got 3 hours of sleep, it was fine as long as I showed up and was able to really hit my mark and hit my lines and make sure that everybody was rolling smoothly throughout the day. I was happy, even though I was tired.
Did you work every day on the soap, or did you have a day off in between?
It's pretty consistent. It would be 3 to 4 days a week. And then, of course, I mean, depending on the storylines, it could be every day. But yeah, it's a tight schedule.
When you did work on the soap, did you get to keep the clothes? That's the one thing everybody always asks.
Oh my God, that's a good question. Did I? Not really. Not really. And at the end of the day, you'd kind of be like sweaty, and you'd feel like these are my character's clothes. You'd kind of want to rip them off. So no, I'm trying to think. Did I keep? No, I never kept anything.
When you made the transition from the soap going into straight out of Compton, excuse me, did you find the camera work different between the two styles of soap and
Oh,
the
100%.
film.
That's kind of what I was saying. Like every job is so unique and different. And I think that one of the most important things is to apply a new lens and perspective to every role, every job, every set. The tone is going to be different, the culture is going to be different. Whether or not you have time to do a blocking rehearsal or a rehearsal at all will be different. It'll really depend. There were some really wide shots with Straight Outta Compton where, there were moments where I really had to be mindful of where the camera was. Whereas with the soap opera, it's very preset. Some of the shots can be very close. It's more of an intimate indoor feel. And so your relationship to the camera is different. So your awareness of it has to be different.
So let's go back to your new TV series. Did you have to test for it, or was it a direct offer?
So we're in the pandemic, right? So this is all happening on Zoom. So the test was on Zoom. So it was really more of, I guess it would fall into the category of a test, but it was really kind of reading with everyone in the room, so to speak, and sort of working with the scene. And me and Maya got to work through different moments together, taking adjustments and playing with it.
So what was your thoughts going into the test when you've just signed a contract, knowing this is how much I'm going to make for the next 7 years? What goes through your head?
You don't think about it. I think that's the most important thing, is really not to think about it. I think it's so easy to trip yourself up by projecting into the future, the what if and how things will be or what things will be like. That can really put a lot of pressure on the moment, right? On your mindset. So I think my biggest goal is not to think about any of that stuff and just have fun, because sometimes your nerves can take over and that can really affect your ability to have fun. So I think for me, I really like to put all of that awareness to the side and focus on the moment and having fun.
That is great. What advice would you give a young actor starting in the business, wanting to get into the soaps or get into feature films?
One of my favorite books is called Big Magic, by Elizabeth Gilbert, and I hope I'm quoting that correctly. One of the things that I really recommend to people is reading. It really helps to put your experience into context and perspective. I think a lot of people who are artists, again, regardless of what medium you're in, you can spend a lot of time working on your craft on your own. And I think that having a context, whether it's building a community of artists around you that you can meet and connect with and rehearse with, talk things through with, or reading books. And Big Magic is a really good one. I think that it allows people who are wanting to get into the business or who are already in the business, ways in which you can look at it that reduces pressure, reduces stress, reduces intensity, and really puts the focus on the creativity and the fun. And we're all creative and we all want to have fun. So I think focusing on that is important.
Great. So where can people see The Pretty Little Liars Original Sin, and when does it debut?
Yeah, so the premiere happened. It is on HBO Max. It is streaming. You can get all the way up to episode 5 now. So
Wow.
yes.
Once again, give people where they can find you on social media.
You can catch me at Elena Goode, simply my first and last name, on Instagram.